Hi, my name is Dr. Wanjiron Dagwajuguna, and I thought it right to start something that actually tells people what fertility is and what it's all about. I think there's a lot of stigma. There are a lot of people who are suffering in silence, and I think it's time that we end the silence and actually make people aware that fertility should not be any stigma. It's happening, and there is help out there. So welcome to Footsteps to Fertility. So, I've always get these people asking me when I say, oh, I'm a reproductive medicine, and they say, okay, what does that mean? And what's all this thing about fertility? Because it's been on the news a lot. So what's fertility and why should we be concerned? So what fertility is the ability, obviously, to get a baby, yeah, naturally and within 1 year of trying to get pregnant. And what affects our fertility? I think it's important to note that a fertility is a couple thing. So it's about the man and the woman. It's never the woman alone, it's never the man alone. And for fertility, it's important to know that at least 30, it's actually equally dispersed. About 30% of women have the problem, at least 30% of men have the problem, and there's a 30 to 35% that have both the male and the female have the problem. So it is actual equal, it is a couple thing. So what affects a woman's fertility? I think I'll come and I'll show my little structure, which I actually really love. And this is the female reproductive tract. And I think, so it's important to know what we are and what we have. This is the little uterus that carries the baby. These are the tubes that's actually the conduit, and these are the little ovaries. So what do we need to be fertile? We need one, open tubes. This is about 70% of the problem actually. About 70% of couples have a problem with the tubes. So we need an open tube, we need good ovaries, we need a good uterus, and we need good sperm. And fifth and most important, we need to be psychologically excited about getting pregnant and not stressed, because stress plays a huge part in fertility control. So what about these structures? I'll start by telling you about a woman's menstrual cycle. At the first day of the woman's menstrual cycle, obviously there's the bleeding, but what goes on over here? What's happening at that point is that the woman's lining is shedding. And when it sheds at the same particular time, her eggs are also getting prepared to start growing. So what happens is that on day 2, 3, the little eggs that are going to grow and form part of the ova, which is the female component of the baby, start growing. And once they grow to a certain level, usually on day 14, if a woman has a regular cycle of 28 days, it ruptures and bursts. And when it bursts, people don't know this, but the tube is actually very motile. The tube comes and picks up the little egg that's bursted, and the little hairs inside the tube push and propel the little ova to around this section of the tube. And when it reaches this part of the tube, if we have intercourse on that day and the sperm are actually in the vicinity of the tube, fertilization should occur, all factors withstanding. So once fertilization occurs, it takes the little embryo that is formed 8 days to travel from right here to right inside the uterus. So the tube, the little embryo travels up, and down, and goes and implants right at the back of the uterus. So obviously we need a really healthy tube. We also need a healthy uterus. Just imagine if there are little things there. So we could have fibroids, we could have little polyps, things that are inside that the cavity. Obviously implantation will not occur. So that's why the uterus is important, the tubes are important, the ovaries are important, and obviously we have to have healthy sperm, because the sperm have to travel from the vagina and have to travel all this way. And this is kind of the size of a normal reproductive tract. But you can imagine the sperm is microscopic, so it really has to do a lot of work. And that's why there's so many anyway. So that's all about the woman. and the male, and what helps us, and all the systems that make us get pregnant. So there we have it. That's the female reproductive tract. I hope you learned something, because that's the motive. We need to empower women, we need to know about ourselves, and we need to destigmatize infertility. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We have the comment section down below. We will respond. And if you liked it and think that somebody would really benefit from this information, please feel free to share. This is Dr. Wanjiro Ndegwa at Footsteps to Fertility, where we walk with you.